All right, guys. So before we start this video today, I want to give a huge shout out to a really awesome YouTube channel. He's a very small channel, but he posted videos years ago, and then he kind of paused for a couple years, and now as of this weekend, he posted his very first video in like 3 years again, which is really crazy, and it's none other than my brother. And my brother's channel is called Tanuki Dookie. He does video game type of content, 90s and 2000s nostalgia things, Pokemon cards. So if you guys are into those types of things, click the link down below and go subscribe to Tanuki Dookie and tell him Spec'em Auto sent you. Alright, let's get on to the video. Hey YouTube, how's it going? Spec'em Auto is back with another episode of M.A.V today. In today's video, we are going to talk about my car shopping experience. So, in a recent live video, I've talked about potentially buying a new car here in the near future, and there was a couple of contenders that I was interested in. You've probably seen them in the thumbnail. The two biggest ones that I really was interested in was the new Nissan Sentra and the new Honda Accord EX. But there's definitely some ups and downs with the whole process, and it's definitely stressful when you're never buying a new car before. Like, this is a new experience for me. So, I mean, of course, it was just as stressful as it was exciting. But today I'm going to go over how my experiences went with both dealerships I went to. So the first dealership I went to was for the Nissan. I went there and I asked if they had any of them in stock, and they said they did. They had a white SR Midnight Edition. So the guy offered to grab me the keys and take it on a test drive. So of course I didn't say no to that. So I took this car on the test drive, and I really enjoyed the experience. The quality of these new Nissans are very nice. It borderline felt kind of upper class. Like, it was Nissan's been stepping up their game these last couple years. But I took it on a test drive. I enjoyed it, and tested everything I wanted to test out with it. Check everything out what I wanted to check out. And I came back, and so after I took the Nissan on a test drive, I gave him my information and everything, and I asked him how much a month it would be, and if I bring X amount down payment, and he said he would talk to his manager, and he would get back with me. He would text me and stuff, and get a hold of me again when he gets that information. So I went home with my Nissan Sentra brochure and everything else, and looking at my options. And after that, I went to test drive and check out the Honda Accord EX. And from the beginning, my dealership experience at Honda was definitely a lot more positive vibe at first. I walk in, get greeted by the salesman. He was very friendly and, courteous and things like that. He immediately gave us a place to, kind of sit and talk, and he offered me a free drink. So, I asked him for a green tea. So he went and got me a green tea. And then he mentioned that they had a bunch of donuts sitting around that they were going to throw away if they weren't going to get eaten. So he offered me some donuts. So I ate a pumpkin donut. It was from a local restaurant in our town, so the donuts here are very fantastic. But anyway, so I got my free tea and a donut, and he asked me what brought me in today, and I told him, I want to test drive the new Honda Accord, so, and check it out. So he brought me the keys to a black 2024 Honda Accord EX, and he gave me a little brief tour of it and stuff, and he asked me if I wanted to test drive it, and I said yes. So he gave me the keys and, took my information and stuff that he needed. I went on my test drive. I really, really enjoyed that car. Like, that Accord is an excellent car. Like, just by default, already felt more fancy and more upscale than the Nissan. And it's not just me talking out of favoritism to Honda. Like, I'm being actually serious right now. Like, the quality in that vehicle is ridiculous. The materials they used inside, the overall design, and of course you have that Honda reliability right behind it. But that car also had a 192 horsepower turbo engine, and when I took it on the highway, I smacked the gas pedal down to the floor when I got a good chance to do it, because I wanted to see how good it would pick up and go. And let me tell you, my adrenaline started going, and it was a lot of fun. I really liked that car. And some people here might think, oh, it's 192 horsepower. It's not that much horsepower. And while you're right, you're also talking to a guy who has a 14-year-old, 260,000-mile car that was rated at 140 horsepower when it was new 14 years ago. I'm sure it's a little less than that now, because sometimes it feels kind of tired, obviously, because of the mileage. So, of course, the new Accord feels very, very fast, and it was exhilarating. It felt refreshing in a way, and it was fun. But anyway, I got back to the dealership, and I asked him the same thing I asked the guy at Nissan. I asked him, if I bring, X amount down, for example, how much per month in a ballpark would you say? And he immediately grabbed the tablet, put the numbers in, and no questions asked, he brought it up, and I actually have the paper still right here. He said, for financing, I can get the Accord with $5,000 down. It was the example I used for both models at both dealerships. $5,000 down payment. I would have been able to get it for $534 to $544 a month for 60 months, 4.9% APR, or $469 to $479 a month for 72 months, 5.9% APR. Or if I really wanted to stretch it out, like out to 84 months, it would have been $457 to $467 a month. But he wasn't able to get me APR numbers at the time. This is all based on ballpark ranges, because I didn't get my credit ran or anything at the time, because I was still in my initial stages of test driving what I liked seeing and getting like ballparks just to kind of give me an idea. Right away, I'll tell you the differences between the Honda experience and the Nissan experience. During this first weekend that I went and test drove these cars and asked for all this information. So, Nissan, well, let me finish the Honda part. So, he immediately gives me the ballpark estimates for financing. Great. He said he would, he would stay in touch with me and this and that and the other. Great. So, I went home, and then the next day comes around. So this is a whole day after I test drove the cars and asked the salesman the questions. I decided to go ahead and get a hold of the salesman at Nissan, and then he told me, again, like I asked him, hey, did you ever get those numbers that I wanted for financing? I wanted a ballpark, right? Again, he said to me again, let me go talk to my manager. And then a whole, I don't even know, 15, 20 minutes comes by. And then finally he texts me back, with your money down, you would be paying around $449 a month. But he didn't specify APR, he didn't specify months, he just gave me the number. So then I asked him, okay, great, so what's the APR percentage? And for a while I didn't get a reply, and then finally he replied to me, and he said, he said, I don't know, maybe around 12%. So that was astronomically higher than what Honda quoted me for. And, you know, the differences are starting to weigh in now. I was getting a little bit of tense vibes, a little, it just felt kind of tense, and like the guy wanted to really get me to buy a car right away with, no hesitation. And I don't know, I didn't really like the experience there that much. Plus, on top of that, you have the consideration for Nissans and their faulty CVT transmissions, which could ultimately cause a lot of problems and a lot of money in the future. And you got that much higher APR rate than what the Honda guy gave me for the Accord. And the Accord is a whole different spectrum of vehicles, because the Sentra is like a compact, and the Accord is like a big mid-size sedan. So that already is a difference. While the total price and payments are cheaper on the Nissan, on the Accord, God damn it, I can't say that word. Technologically, oh my god, they have more in their mid-tier sedan than the Nissan did in the full-fledged SR Midnight Edition. Like, that Midnight Edition didn't even have a sunroof. The Honda Accord had a sunroof. And, there's just multiple safety features, and like the brake hold feature and things that the Honda has that the Nissan didn't have. So I'm taking all these things into consideration. So now ultimately, I decided I think I'm going to stick with what I wanted originally, which was the Accord. Common sense. But anyway, so after that whole thing, the Nissan guy, he told me that. I said, okay, thanks for the information. And then after that, I just never talked to him again, because I'm no longer interested in that. As nice as that car was, I just didn't think the vibe of that dealership and just everything else with the APR percentage and everything, it just wasn't really, it didn't feel right to me. So a week went by. So the next weekend, which was the weekend that just passed, I went back to Honda again, and I, decided this was the time that I was going to actually get my credit ran and get my Honda Civic appraised for trade-in. Just by the slight chance that they might have offered me a decent offer for it, I was considering it. If it would help lower the monthly payments and stuff. It was something I was willing to do, as hard as it is to let the Civic go. But anyway, I went back to the dealership at Honda, and I talked to the guy. He gave me another free green tea, which was very nice of him. Very, very nice, and very nice guy. I mostly enjoyed my experience working with him. But anyway, he gave me another free tea, and I told him what brought me in today, and I told him I just told you guys about getting my car appraised for trade, asked a couple questions, and and then I actually let them do a hard credit check on me to get accurate numbers, to see if I was going to get approved and things like that. Well, while they were test driving and checking out my Civic for appraisal, they offered to let me test drive the Accord again, because the same black Accord was still there. They didn't sell it between that time. So I said, of course, I would love to drive it again and, get another feel of it. So me and my buddy, because my buddy came with me this time, we both got into the Accord. I started up, adjusted the seats and mirrors to my specifications, and we start driving and test driving the car, and we were talking about the car and how nice it is and things. I was testing out some of the features I didn't exactly get to test out in the previous test drive. The features are superb in this car, man. And I'm not going to spoil a lot of the information about features and things like that, because I am planning on making a 2024 Honda Accord EX review video, hopefully in the near future. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, and back to the thing. So we got back from the test drive. I had a lot of fun, and I was still feeling the love that I felt for that car the first time I drove it the previous weekend. Well, we sat down with the dealer again, and he went and talked to his sales manager after I submitted all of my information in so they can do the hard credit check on me. And, some significant time passed. We were sitting there for a while hanging out and stuff, and of course, me never buying a new car before, never doing anything remotely close to this before, I was honestly pretty nervous. As embarrassing as it is to admit, there was a kind of a point where I kind of started getting kind of like flushed and, sweaty and stuff. And my buddy's like, dude, calm down. I'm like, it's kind of hard to be calm when I've never done this before. Trust me, if it was that easy to just calm down, I would have calmed down. You don't have to tell me to calm down. It just makes it even worse, low key. But anyway, they got back with me, and then they told me they would take $800 for my Civic. I honestly think that is a joke. And I get it. It's modified a little bit in some areas, and the mileage is higher because it is a little over 260,000 miles now. But when they say, they didn't say anything about that mods I did to it, and they just specifically talked about the mileage. But we kind of fired back at them, and we were like, well, how about you tell your sales manager we can try, why don't we try to go up to 1,000 for the trade-in? So he went back into the manager's office and was talking to him for another like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Then he came back and he told me that he's pretty firm on 800 and he won't go any higher. I'm like, well, okay, whatever. So then after that, we started doing the credit check thing. So I put all that stuff in, like I said, and I was waiting. And he finally came back out and he said, that my credit score is superb. And I didn't even know my credit score was this high, but apparently I had a credit score of 720. So pretty damn impressive for myself, I must say. But he said, even though I have excellent credit rating, he said, I would still most likely need a cosigner. And I asked, why? And he said, because you just don't have a lot under your belt right now. Because even though your credit is 720, you still only have one credit card to your name, which is true. I only have one credit card currently. I try not to get myself 500 credit cards and shoot myself into debt. I was trying to build credit, and obviously, I'm relatively new in the credit world too, because I actually got my first credit card. It started establishing my credit around March of this year. So, I wasn't even building credit for a year yet, and apparently I'm already up in the 700s, which is pretty damn impressive, honestly. I'm actually kind of proud of myself for that. I thought it was like maybe in the 670s, but no, it was a lot higher than that. But, yeah, he came back and told me I most likely would need a cosigner and stuff, but they were still going back and forth with Honda, apparently, trying to see if they would give me some kind of deal. And, they were talking about their first-time buyer program and things like that, which sounds great and dandy. But that was when the sales manager himself came out. And he sat down next to me, and he right away asked me for our names. So I told him my name, and my buddy just said B, because he didn't trust him either. He just had that very sketchy, sleazy salesman vibe, that sales manager vibe that a lot of people don't like. And, he was explaining to me pretty much what the salesman himself was talking about, how I would most likely need a cosigner and things like that. And he was the manager guy was very, very pushy on trying to get me to, you know, put myself into a bad position. And I just stuck my ground the whole time. And I told him, like, you know, if I can't get a good trade offer for my car and I don't get approved without a cosigner, I guess I'll just have to get another credit card or two, build my credit more, and save more money up into the next year. Because obviously I'm not rich. I can't just pull, you know, $10,000 out of my ass, you know, because I work a normal 9-to-5 job. You know, I don't get monetized on YouTube, and I haven't even bothered applying to be a YouTube partner because, you know, this is a hobby. It's more of a hobby thing. I don't want to make it a job. So that's one of the big things that makes me hesitant about being monetized. But anyway, so yeah, he was being very pushy, and I told him how I wanted to save up money longer then, since I can't get a good deal today. I was like, you know, if I can't get it today, I can't get it today. And, you know, I told him my points, and he said something along the lines of, I agree to disagree, blah, 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 blah. You know, he started spewing more sales tactic bullshit on me. And, you know, overall, the Honda dealership was pretty good. I mean, I had a good experience there with the free drinks and the donuts and the courtesy and things like that. And, you know, the openness of giving me numbers for the financing information, you know, ballparks and such. So I liked it. But I absolutely did not like the sales manager. If I go back to that Honda dealership in the future with, you know, a bigger down payment where I don't have to trade my Civic in, because honestly, if my Civic isn't worth shit, I'm not going to trade it in. I'm just going to keep it, whatever. I mean, if I end up keeping 2 cars, or if I just own both cars and then eventually sell the Civic, whatever. But anyway, so then, you know, the sales manager went back into his office because, you know, like he has anything better to do. And then the salesman told me, you know, they're still talking to Honda and stuff, and they'll get back with me tomorrow to see if I would get approved without a cosigner, or if I got disapproved without the cosigner. It has now been, let's see, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's been like 4 days now, and it's been crickets. I've never heard back from the salesman again. So, I don't know. I'm getting mixed feelings about that, because it's like, you know, I want to like the salesman, because I liked working with him. He was very kind. He was courteous during the whole thing. But on the same coin, if you're not going to take the time of the day to at least tell me if I got approved or not, I mean, whatever. It's not going to hurt my feelings if you text me no. Honestly, I was expecting no the whole fucking time, so it wouldn't have made any difference to me. You know, it's honestly worse when you don't even communicate back to me, because it makes me feel like, you know, if there's no deal to be made and you can't make a sale, I'm suddenly just completely forgotten about. And I don't like that feeling. So the whole thing with that sales manager and the guy not texting me back a yes or no answer kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Not gonna lie. Am I going to put these guys on blast? Am I going to put these dealerships on blast? Absolutely not, because there's no point. Because I still have some level of respect for that Honda dealership. The Nissan dealership, I don't have as much respect for. Like I said, the vibe there was completely tense. It was instantly just pressure on me. I didn't like that, so I kind of didn't want to even buy a car there anyway after that whole thing. But I think the Honda place still has a chance. But if I go back to that Honda dealership again, and I see that same sales manager in that office, I'm going to tell them I don't want to work any kind of deal out or do anything unless you guys get a different sales manager in here, and I'm going to rather work with the different sales manager, because there's more than one sales manager at that place. I know that because my buddy bought his 2024 Accord through a different sales guy there, and of course he had a different sales manager because he didn't even know who this sales manager was when he came out and talked to us. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's really unfortunate that I couldn't get a deal worked out right now, but maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe it's God telling me that maybe there's a better time in the future where I can get this new car and, keep myself in a good / better financial situation. Because my biggest thing is that's a long-term commitment. You're financing that thing for years. I never once wanted to put myself into a bad financial situation at all. And being a first-time new car buyer, it's scary. I'm not gonna lie. Because I've had about 9 or 10 cars in my lifetime, and guess what? They were all used cars. All through local small lots with 15, 20 cars in it, and it's just some local dude that's selling cars. It's not like these fancy, big, giant, corporate, brand new car places with shiny, new, expensive cars on the floor. It's a completely different ballpark, in my opinion. But let's just say, I would still rather shop at the Honda place than the Nissan place. Because to boil it all down, Nissan place, just tense environment, pushy sales guy. Even when they finally gave me the information back, a whole couple days went by. The Nissan guy finally texted me back, that the car would be $449 a month. And then I asked him, what's the APR? Another few minutes later, comes back after he talks to his manager, and he tells me 12%. I'm just like, whatever, man. And then he was like, then he tried to pull a bullshit sales tactic on me. This is the thing right here that put the final nail in the coffin for me even wanting anything to do with the Nissan dealership. The guy texted me, just so you know, there's people coming to look at this Nissan today. It is still here if you want it. He's trying to put that sales tactic pressure on me. I did not like that. So after that whole thing, I just pretty much cut him off and I was done. At least at the Honda dealership, they were a lot more open with their numbers. And although the sales manager was a prick, he definitely came off as a prick. I absolutely didn't like him. And that the sales guy at Honda didn't even bother to text me back. It's just crickets. I'm just assuming that the crickets is a no. I mean, it's pretty obvious. So, I mean, and my buddy was telling me, you're taking it so personal, you're getting so angry over it. It's not me taking it personally. It's just common courtesy to at least tell somebody an answer. If I want answers, I want it. And if I'm just wasting your time, I don't want to waste my time either. So I don't want anything to do with you. So I think next time I go in there, I'm going to talk to a different salesman again, and I'm going to talk to a different sales manager too when it comes to that point. Because those two guys, I think at this point, I kind of want nothing to do with. But, yeah, I mean, $20 more a month for the Accord, which generally is overall a nicer car. A lot roomier, has more tech in it, things like that. I don't know. And plus, the Accord is a brand new design. The current generation Accord just came out last year. The current generation Nissan Sentra, that was out since 2020. So, I mean, we're talking about a body style generation that's starting to get kind of aged a little bit at this point versus a fresh, brand new Honda that just came out this year. So, I mean, I had went with the Honda, and my heart is still set on that Honda. It is. Like I said, once I get the money saved up, I really want to save thousands of dollars before I even go in there. Because I don't want a high car payment. I want a lower car payment. Even if by some chance, which, I mean, I'm sure it's going to happen, if the APR is a little bit higher by sometime next year, or if the MSRP is a little bit higher next year, so be it. I just have to deal with it, There's nothing I can do about it, so why stress about it? But I guess that's all I really wanted to talk to you guys about today. It's just, the new car shopping experience as a first-time buyer is very, very stressful. It's super exciting because you know, I never in my life have driven a brand new car off the lot with, 10, 18 miles on it before. You know, I've never done that. So it was really, really cool. It was a lot of fun, but the technical side of things, with dealing with the salespeople trying to do their bullshit sales tactics and asshole sales managers and things like that, it can leave a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth. But don't let it ruin everything for you, because there's always good sides to everything, and usually the good always outweighs the bad. But all right, guys, gotta wrap it up here. If you haven't already, please give the video a like, thumbs up that button, smash that like button, guys, please. Support my channel by subscribing, hitting that bell icon to get notified of every upload of my videos. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Stay safe out there. See y'all next time.